right, what's going on, guys? How you doing? How you doing? It's your boy DJ Fastanks here with a couple of reviews. I've been a little behind for the last couple of weeks, so what I'm gonna do is try to do this live stream for the first time. And if people jump in, they jump in. If they don't, I'm just gonna review these last couple of movies that came out. Shoot, in the month of some in what's this May and some in June. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So what we're gonna start off with is one that had a lot of people feeling the type of way about was the Fast and the Furious, Fast 10. Okay. So my initial thoughts about the movie after watching it was basically it's a pretty cool movie. Definitely better than Fast 9. I totally enjoyed Jason Momoa. He killed it in his role. But some of the things with your boy Vin Diesel, man, like we know he could do more than what he's been doing on these last movies. For the guy who's creating all this stuff, he has it looks like he has the least amount to want to bring to these movies as far as himself, his character is Dom. But other than that, like the action is always gonna be crazy. It's definitely gonna be over the top. It's definitely gonna be stupid. I was one of the few people that knew that this was going to be a part one. A lot of people didn't know, so they kind of was pissed off about that. We're gonna talk about another movie with the same thing later. But yeah, some of just let's go back to older movies to show you what happened, what you didn't see, type stuff. Oh, just to let you guys know, this all these reviews are going to be spoiler. So if you don't want to watch this, if you don't want to hear anything about any of these movies, as far as spoiler, because you hadn't seen them, go ahead and move on. Come back when you have watched said movies. I might put chapter times in between each of them, but we'll continue. So yeah, like the plot, not the plot twist, but just a different twist in general in this show, and the fact that nothing can hurt this human. He's a human, not a superhero, but a human. Nothing can hurt him. He can never die. It's like he's a Terminator. And, sometimes that does get a little annoying, but for the simple fact of the action part of it, like when that bomb was rolling down the city, like rolling down in the hills in the city, first of all, my whole thing was like the momentum. What's keeping it going down? Like, I understand it's a hill, but for it to be going as fast as it's going, like, what's going on? On top of that, it hit the bus, tore the bus in half, but when Dom hit it, or I'm sorry, I guess because Dom hit it with his car. His car hit that bomb, or the bomb hit the car. It didn't do nothing to the car too much. Like his car was just super strong. So that's the part where people were like, I know it's not supposed to be real because it's a movie, but come on now. But I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you that I wasn't on the edge of my seat wondering what the hell's gonna happen next with this bomb rolling down the damn hill. Nice introduction to what was going on and just trying to get everybody back in the swing of things. Uh, so some of the characters I kind of felt like the initial, the the returning cast, most of the people that's always been there for almost every last one of them. Even though it was like the plot was a lot like it was started by the initial groups leaving off and doing their own thing without Dom. I kind of feel like they didn't have much to do in the whole movie, and then the fact of how they ended off with them blowing up supposedly in the plane because of that other plot twist with the agent who was double agent working with Momoa the whole time. I was like, and that's my boy, man. He's from Titans, Blue Mountain State. Yeah, that's my homie right there. But I thought he was gonna be part of the team. I didn't know they was gonna flip him like that into a villain. But they had to do it. They had to do it. And then that ending action scene on the bridge, like, come on, man, come on. Dom and his son should have been dead. Like, hey, shoot, Jason Momoa should have been dead. But to each his own. I like I said, I like the crazy action in it. It is getting to the point to where it's time to let stuff go. I do like the addition of the what was it? Why do I want to say Big Daddy, but I know it's not his name. The other two agents. I know he one of them was the son was from the first movie, I mean, the last movie, and then they put the daughter in this one too as well. So I like the addition of those two characters. I do like that Cypher's coming came back and she helped Lady get out. That was cool. Okay, they gotta explain how old girl comes back. And I know how Han. They gotta let us know how Han feel about it. I bet you $10 Han already knew she was back, and they both kind of got out at the same time. I bet you. I bet you. But yeah, it's a lot of things going on in that movie. I give it for a Fast and the Furious movie. I give it like out of 10. I give it a 6. I give it a 6. Action was good. It's definitely better than, like I said, the last one. If you hadn't seen it by now, I'm definitely sure it's on streaming somewhere, and you may could catch it in the theater somewhere because I think it's still playing in the theaters too. Uh, if you can catch it in the theaters, I know I'm late as hell, but if you can't catch it in the theaters, go ahead and try to catch that now. All right, so the next up, really, really divisive, really, really divisive movie, The Little Mermaid. Okay, so let me tell you about this. I was excited about it. Just the fact that it was a live action movie of a Disney Renaissance movie that I loved. So I was already excited about it. And then when they decided to do a black Ariel, I was kind of okay with it. I'm probably one of the few black people who's like, I didn't need her to be black. But, hey, new age, new kids. Maybe they wanted it to be black. So I'm not going to complain about it. Wasn't too hype about Haley singing because I know she can sing. But again, one of the reasons why I was like, I could have dealt with her being white is I didn't want them to black up the music, if you know what I mean. So, like, you have it where no matter who you are, no matter what type of singer you are, you're going to sing it a certain way. But then usually with black artists, black ballad singers, they like to add those runs, something like a Beyonce, how they do those runs into classic songs that don't have those runs in them. And that's what I mean by black it up. I'm not saying, they just turn the whole song straight up black. I'm just saying more just like the extra stuff that you didn't need in certain songs. And in this case of this movie, after watching it, the music sound good, don't get me wrong, but it could have been a little bit better. She killed it. Don't get me wrong, she killed it for her. But I was expecting something along the same lines as how the original was how it was played. Because most of the times when they actually try to get those aspects of those songs and those, the action set pieces was going on when those songs were being played in certain cartoons, they try to kind of keep them in the same vein. And so with, like, let's say Under the Sea, I don't know if it was old boy's accent. It to me it feel like he was trying to be the original guy who played Sebastian, and I appreciate that, but it just didn't work. And the sad part is, as much as I didn't love Under the Sea, the Under the Sea version that they had in this movie, I probably would have liked it better if the fish and the underwater scenes and all that stuff for that set piece kind of resembled a little bit of what it was in the original cartoon. Like, yes, we know you have real looking fish. Okay, cool. I know you want to make it real. I get that. But you could have still had those real fish the real looking fish do most of the stuff that was happening in the original thing. They just kind of wiped that whole thing. It's like, let's just do a whole new scene. And I was like, ugh. And that took me out of the movie. Movie was, outside of the music, the movie was pretty great. The visuals are pretty great. That looked nice. But being a person who actually grew up on, the original Little Mermaid, that kind of, like, a lot of that stuff took me out of the movie. So if I was to give that movie, actually no, let me go back before I give it a score. So like I said, Haley did a great job as Ariel. I have no hate against her. She did okay. Just some of the songs she blacked up a little bit and whatever. Like in the original, Ariel does not sing in Under the Sea, but then they let her sing. They put certain parts in there, and you could tell by even how the way the song is played, it feels like it's forced in there. So again, that was kind of the thing. Sebastian, I told you, like, I think the guy was just trying to be like the guy who played the original Sebastian, and it just didn't play out right. Flounder, why? Why was he even there? I love Flounder. I love his character. It feels like he did more in the original, but I know for a fact I'm probably wrong on that. But I don't know. It just seemed like he didn't need to be there. Scuttle. Scuttle's a seagull. I don't know what Aquafina was. I don't know what type of bird that was. It wasn't a seagull. That bird looked like it was a tropical bird that had nothing to do with the sea. Like it shouldn't even been nowhere near sea. That's I don't know. That like and then the fact that they allowed Scuttle to be able to talk underwater. Why? What was the purpose? Again, and still not be a sequel. If somebody knows why they made that choice, tell me. I am okay with you putting me in my place and telling me that I'm wrong. Have no problems there. The Prince, he was okay. He actually did pretty good. Didn't love his song. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people may have. I did not like that song. It felt like High School Musical with Zac Efron in that first one when he was running in the field. That's what that whole song felt like to me, and it was cringy. I was like, ew. But as far as his acting, he did pretty good. Good twists is they made him be adopted, and his mother was black. It's like okay, that's cool. Um, his mother was fine, you know. That was a quick in and out. Let's see who else was in this movie. Ursula, my girl Ursula. I was not a fan of who they chose. But when they chose her, I was like, yes, yes. But then when you start thinking about like who's how she acts and all this stuff, I'm like, I don't know if she could do it. But then when I saw the pictures, I was like, this might be good. When she started her set piece and her music, it was good. They took some liberties with it. Don't get me wrong. It was some differences in the two, but it still looked good. Her at the end when she grew straight up Disney. I'm glad they actually put that part in there because I was expecting them to kind of be just more like a regular battle, trying to make it more realistic. But the fact that they actually put her in there as the big octopus was like, yeah, I'm the queen. I'm gonna take over the sea. That was dope. The lady who played her when she was on the boat and was trying to marry the Prince Eric, that lady took some acting classes, boy. She went in there. She was like, okay, this is what y'all need me to do. She understood the assignment. Trust me. That was, like those parts were kind of good. I liked it. Like, it's the music for me that kind of threw me out of it. So like, it wouldn't be considered to me a old ass man. It wouldn't be considered, my classic Disney movie. Now, it could be some kids out there that just totally loved it because they might be fans of Haley. They just might be fans of the original and they just like what this new direction in real, live action took for them. So, in my score, I would probably give it out of 10. I would probably give that one a 6 too as well. It could have been higher if the music would have been a little bit more of a hit for me. But yeah, I really like that. So, next up, gotta talk about it. Gotta talk about it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Woo! A lot of people were not paying attention when they was doing marketing for this movie throughout the last 2 or 3 years. When the first movie came out, I'd say about a year after that, they announced that they were making a movie. They were making a sequel. It was one movie. They gave a date and all this other good stuff. And then our favorite friend that nobody likes came and wiped everybody out in 2020, 2021. You know, that thing we call with the vid, yeah, that thing. It came out and slowed a lot of stuff down, so they pushed the movie back. So when that happened, they decided to put the movie into two parts, which they actually did a marketing push for that too, to say coming soon, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and Part 2. They kind of pushed it for, like, I ain't gonna say it was like the whole year, but they pushed it for a little while. And so what happened was they decided to give the parts 1 and parts 2 separate names, and so they started promoting the first part as just Across the Spider-Verse. As simple as that. So a lot of people didn't know that it was a part 2. And in my screening, like when I went to go watch it, the friends I went with and just some of the people that I know around who didn't know, they were livid when the end of this movie happened. But let's get to the beginning. Okay, like how the fact that they start back right where the last movie ends off, when, wrong, let me rewind. It don't start off there. They start off with your girl Gwen and telling us more about her story. And I saw a couple of reviews before I watched the movie about a lot of people who kind of didn't appreciate the fact that they kind of like put Gwen's story in the beginning like that, because they think this is technically supposed to be like a Miles Morales movie, where it is, but when you talk about Spider-Verse movies is just about Spider-Man. Doesn't matter which one they're talking about at the moment, it's just about Spider-Man. So you got to give Gwen a little thing. And then when you look at the parallels of his life and her life and how they ended everything, it makes sense why they started with her. Because if you don't know, they started with her and they ended with her. And that's why I kind of liked it too. So yeah, they started with her, tell us her whole story, explain basically again, her origins and how she became Spider Gwen, and how she had a best friend who became who was Peter Parker, who became the Lizard, and she did that whole thing, how her dad was hunting her and all this good stuff. Well, I'm sorry, how he died, and then her dad started hunting her, and doing all those things. So that whole it was like got good 10-15 minutes before what you would consider the start of the movie. And then once you get past her, then it goes into Miles' story, and it jumps straight in. Boom. We was there. We was back into Miles' reality. So this whole thing with the Spot. Okay, so when we first see the trailers and they show the Spot, I thought the Spot was going to be one of those, like how in the first one we had Doc Ock and a couple of little small villains, but the real villain was the Kingpin and the Collider itself in general. And so I was kind of thinking that's kind of what they were going to do with this one, where it was a much bigger villain that had nothing to do with the Spot, and Spot was just an intro villain to show you what Miles has been up to since the last movie. The fact that they made him the main villain, and he's still the main villain, he's going to be the main villain of the next one too, it's creative as hell. And why he was the villain and how he became a villain, creative as hell. Like, you telling me he created Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man, Miles Morales created him. That is a Joker Batman type of story if I ever heard one. So, that was pretty dope how they made him so like whack in the beginning, and to show his progression of showing you how strong he was, to the point to where they kind of just left him alone. They let him go. They was like, screw that, we're not doing this no more. It's whatever. We're just going to leave him off to the side because he's going to be a main player for the next movie. And when you get to almost the end and you realize, you're like, hold on. Like, if you're a person who didn't know it was going to be a part 2, hold on. Where the hell Spot at? When he coming back so they could finish this off? Like, somebody told me it was a certain way that the movie was going to end, and I had ideas, and I'm going to tell you here first, I was completely wrong. Completely wrong. How they did the story, how they ended it, I was completely wrong. But yeah, he did his thing. I like how he found out how his powers work, and how he kind of just progressed over time. I like how once Miles got to meet up all with the other Spider-Men, he learned that they had to do certain things in each one of their lives that has to happen, even though they don't want it to happen. It has to happen so they can become the Spider-Man that they are or supposed to become or whatever. So when he went and he did they went to India in that one world and helped the Indian Spider-Man. And then he saved the chief of police, the Gwen Stacy's dad version in that world, and he was supposed to die. Like, I kind of I kind of felt that, and I wish in this movie they would have kind of arced back to like that happening and them, because we don't know if they ever let the Indian Spider-Man know that dude was supposed to die. So I wonder if they did let him know, and if how his reaction was when he found out about it. So that would have been a good little story point. And then at this point right now, it's no telling if they will. They might do it in the next movie and talk about it. But yeah, just the fact that he got pissed and he had to run through all the Spider-Man, and it's crazy that out of all the Spider-Man, Miles is the one who could get away from everyone. You know, a little plot armor there. I give you that. But he had an idea of what he was doing, so I could kind of get where he was coming from. I think they needed to do that specifically because of the simple fact of the twist that happened when he gets sent back. I think that was the whole purpose of that. Yeah, like Spider-Man was 2099. He is serious in the comic books, if I remember correctly, but I don't think he was that serious. And then if you look at the last movie at the end when they do the credit, you could kind of see where he was kind of playful and kind of goofy, but not that serious. But then when you look at the context of what he said was going on since that movie happened and what he was doing, I could kind of understand why he might have been as cranky as he was, because he's been up trying to make sure he's closing all these things and pulling all these people back and controlling all these different Spider-Man, making sure they was on the same track, and then still worried about Miles over here not even knowing what the hell is going on, so they could put him back, and yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff. So I could kind of see what he was kind of cranky with. I just wish they would have fed more into like the goofy side of him, so we could get a little like, because I mean, I don't like the fact that they tried to make him a villain, especially him being one of the ones that's not technically a Spider-Man. But we'll go from there. The different Spider-Man that they put in this one, dope. I love what was the I love what is his name? Not Peter Parker, the Ben Parker. His Spider-Man, he was just so, oh yeah, no, yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. I love that. And I just love like the different type of Spider-Man they put in there. I do want to see more. I heard that they are coming out with a Madam Web movie and a Spider Woman movie. I think both of those are live action. I'm not sure if they're going to use Issa Rae for the Spider Woman. I don't think they are. I think that's technically probably going to be a white woman, and or a person that's not black. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I think that's the way they're gonna go. But that'll be a good movie, I hope. And in the Madam Web movie, that might be good. I heard it's pretty good. They're going a different route where instead of it being the old lady, it's going to be the young version of Madam Web. So let's see how that goes. This movie with the surprise ending and the fact that they hit you with that, oh, it's a whole nother Miles in a whole nother universe, and he's not a hero. That was priceless. That worked in all ways, and just killed it. It made me want to, like, I heard this from a lot of people, and I believe it, and I felt it myself. I was in that movie theater for almost 3 hours because that movie was long. But once it ended, I was willing to wait. If they was going to play part 2 right there, I would have sat right back down and stayed there for another 3 hours. I'm just saying, that movie was that good. It needs to get some awards. I know it might be a little bit biased because, not me biased, but I know they may not do that because the first one won some awards. So they may not want to come back and give this one awards this time around. one of the other things I got to talk about may be a strong candidate, but it could be really. They could just say screw it and go with it and give him another award. I love the fact that my homeboy, a personal friend, well, a child, he was a child when he was around here in the area I lived in, and when I used to actually hip hop dance, he was around too when he was younger, doing the same thing, and one of my friends was training him. Shamik Moore. I'm glad that they even gave him the opportunity to play Miles Morales in this way. I wish they would have decided they wanted to go with a live action when he was younger, so they could put him in there, like when he first started this, because he looked the part then. Now it's like he's getting older. He can lose the weight, but that age is on you, so it'd be hard to play it out. And I know he has a plan to woo the directors and everybody else to try to make him the live action, and I hope that goes well for him. But I just know how people are, so hey, take this win that you finna get right now, because you finna win again, bro. And go ahead and use that to eat some more like you've been eating. Do what you got to do. Okay, so the next up. Oh yeah, my score for that. That's a 9 out of 10, bro. That's a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I ain't giving it a 10 is because it's a part one, and the way they kind of threw us off. Well, threw me off with how they ended it. Because I knew, like I said, I knew it was gonna be a part one and part two, but I didn't know it was gonna be a cliffhanger like that. So I'm gonna be a little meaning and give it a 9. But yeah, good movie, good movie. I loved it. Next up, what was after Spider-Man that came out? Yeah. No, that wasn't it. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Okay. I love the first Transformers. Everything after that sucked except Bumblebee. Bumblebee was great. Mind you, I've seen all these movies. I didn't have too much hate for them, but when you look at just how they were played out and then what they were, they suck. Bumblebee had a great story. The first one was just a great introduction to this world, as with Transformers in it. Bumblebee was great. If I'm not mistaken, this is supposed to be technically a sequel to Bumblebee. So that's why if you watch the movie and you see how it started off, it literally starts off with the Transformers just already around, and they just chilling, and they just happen to see something that they need to get. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they didn't do no real introduction of why they here and all this other stuff like that. They kind of got straight to the point. This movie to me, out of all the movies, felt more like a cartoon episode of Transformers. Even if you want to say the original, I would say any of the 30-minute show cartoons that they've had. That's kind of what it felt like to me. So, I mean, I loved it for what it was, being a sequel to, Bumblebee. Bumblebee is still better to me. They did pretty good, but some of the stuff was just kooky as hell. Like, they tried to give the girl and the guy chemistry, and it just didn't work. They decided to give the guy a mech suit, which didn't make sense to me. But I've heard from people that in the comic books, one of the human people from the original series has a mech suit, but it's not a transformer. That's probably why I feel the way I feel about it, because it's a transformer that went around the kid. And so that was, interesting. The fact that when Optimus was fighting, he was helping Optimus, like he was just as strong as Optimus. I'm like, come on, man, like stop. Stop with this stuff. Like it's a little stupid stuff like that. Visuals are great, better than Michael Bay stuff, because I actually saw the action. That's probably a plus for me. With the story, it can be stopped. I like how at the end the girl just got the hell on. She did what she said she was gonna do, or her idea of what she wanted to do, and that was it. Like, she was gone. They didn't even try to they didn't even try to bring her back to like say, hey, what's going on? She was just like, yep, I got my information, I'm out. And it just and became famous. So what, more power to her. That's how you know if they decide to make another one, she probably ain't gonna be a part of it. Let me see. I like how they took they took Bumblebee away from the story this time because you know he's always the heart of the story. They took him out of it and they put I don't know why I want to say Starscream and I know it's damn not Starscream. Why I can't think of the Transformer name? But the Mirage. There you go. They put Mirage in there, and it was cool that they made him that character. And I like how they did with him, where he's like the wisecracking, you know. I'm the party guy, but I know how to get stuff done in a sense. But then I might make some stuff, fall back on some stuff and all that like that. I kind of like how they did that, and that was kind of like he was the main Transformer that you was dealing with. But I knew once they supposedly said they killed Bumblebee off, even though I watched the trailers. Let's say I never seen trailers. I already knew once they supposedly killed Bumblebee off, he was coming back. Because again, like I said before, Bumblebee is the heart of these movies. And when they brought his ass back, you see why he was the heart of these movies. Pete Davidson? He did okay voice for for Mirage, but I mean I kind of didn't hear him. A lot of people like the fact that he did the voice. I mean, it didn't make it no better for me or less. It's Pete Davis. That was a good thing he did compared to what they put him in Fast 10. A wasted throwaway character for no reason. Almost as bad as the Cardi B one. Almost as bad. At least Cardi B her scene made sense in the grand scheme of everything. But yeah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Transformers. Yeah, he did a good job as Mirage. We always got the same guy who plays Optimus, his voice. Optimus was a little, a lot of people say he's a little bit bitchy. He's always been that stoic. I'm about business. It's if we have to do it the right way, no other way. My way is the right way type thing. He's always been what some people call the joy killer of just in anything. But he's right. You gotta get his stuff done. I am getting a little tired of him getting his ass whooped. Being he's supposed to be who he is, and he's supposed to be getting his ass whooped like that. But every movie he get his ass whooped, and I'm just like, come on now. If it ain't for Bumblebee being the heart of the movie, Optimus is that guy. Like he's supposed to be murking motherfucker. Like and then this one they didn't even explain how he all of a sudden got stronger. What he was strong because Bumblebee got killed, so he just got the power, the will to fight, and be stronger than this guy. No. I did not like the fact that actually before I get to that, let's get to the the Maximals. Now this movie had 3 factions of Transformers: Autobots, Maximals, and Terracons, something like that. Terracons or something like that. So if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it supposed to be another faction that had nothing to do, like that was not part? I mean, that was part of the Maximal, Beast Wars thing, but Terracons were not. And it was the Predacons. I wish they would have put some Predacons in there so it would actually be more like a Beast Wars movie. But they didn't do that. So we had the Terracons, and they did this whole threat talking about Unicron coming to Earth and all this stuff, which they did in another movie. I'm sorry, they didn't do that in another movie. Unicron was Earth. That's why I say those other movies don't count. But they had your Unicron come and all this other stuff. That's why I say it played like a cartoon episode of one of the shows, because it was like, yes, Unicron is always that threat in the background, and when he has something happen, he always at the last minute something happens and he gets taken away and he can't come at that particular moment in time. So yeah, I get it. Cool, whatever. So I was like, okay, cool, Unicron, Terracons. They didn't need the other two because they didn't matter because they just got wiped off the board real fast. But I do hate the fact that the Maximals and the Autobots was getting their ass handed to them each time they came up on the motherfucker. And then like it didn't make sense when they decided to come up on them that they was getting their ass whooped. Then they decided to win. Like later, like what was the defining factor? Like what changed? Because like the simple fact of towards the end of the movie, the whole time we see the Maximals, they're in their animal forms, even when they had to fight. But then that last battle, they decide, you know what? Let's transform. Maybe if you would have did that in the last battle, you might have won. So it's Transformers. Like I said, I liked it. It's still probably better than the other trash that's out there. It wasn't better than to me. It wasn't better than Bumblebee. It was better than the first one. I give it that. The story was kind of wonky, but I mean it's a Transformer movie. What can you do? Post credit scene. Post credit scene. The post credit scene for this one, when they introduced the fact that G.I. Joe's in this universe, that perked me up a little bit more and made me think, okay, maybe they could do something with it. Too bad that The Rock was in that last one and it sucked. So they're probably not going to bring him back at all. And that's bad. But that'll be something good to look forward to. Hopefully this makes enough money to garner them to make the sequel with the G.I. Joe. We'll see how that goes. But if I was to give a score for that one, I'd probably give that a 5. I give that one a 5. I was halfway in, halfway out. But I mean, if you like Transformers, if you like any of the movies, go see it. You know, it's still in theaters. Try to catch it while it's still there, and tell me what you think down below. All right, next up we have The Flash, and yeah, I saw The Flash. I liked The Flash for what it was. But I also was told I was one of the people who would just hear things on, YouTube and stuff like that about this being the way they're going to, rewrite history and start the DC universe all over again. And this is going to be like their reboot and all that stuff like that. After watching this movie, I don't see how this can be a reboot. I have to be like most people and say that's how they ended the Snyderverse version of these DC characters. Because ain't no way, even though we got Aquaman coming out later, ain't no way, bruh. Like, none of that mattered for the future of DC. Other than the fact, we done with them. We done with these people. Now it's time to start with new. Other than that. So, you could have just said this was just the end of the universe and moved on. But they have people thinking that they're going to wipe stuff clean and all that stuff. No. But I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping a little ahead. Let's start from just how this movie starts. Love how it starts. I hate it. I hate his pose. Why does he have to do that to start to run? I hate his pose. The suit did kind of look weird in the movie, but when they were showing the first pictures of it, it didn't look too bad. But in that first frame, just how tight it is and everything, it looked kind of weird. But I mean, Grant Gustin had one of those has a weird suit too at points. So if he was to stay around, it probably would change again. Whoop-de-doo-de-doo. The whole concept of him, that Batman scene, that Batman chase scene, I loved it. Only thing I hated about it was it was in the daytime. Batman don't be messing with people in the daytime. But I understand why they did it. The suit looked okay. Wasn't the best Batman suit, but it looked okay. I'm kind of pissed that we are not going to get Ben Affleck in a real Batman movie, but I'm also tired of and ready to move on to something bigger and better. So let's go from there. Yes, I do feel the Flash's pain when he said he feels like he was the janitor because of the things he was doing. Woo! Let's talk about that bad CG in the beginning with those babies. Looking up and talking to people and hearing things, I heard that the director said that was a choice to do that because he wanted to make it seem like people know that they were not real babies. Okay, I mean, we knew that it wasn't gonna be real babies, but whatever. They basically they were saying that that's what they wanted to people to see how Barry sees when he's like running in the Speed Force and when he's running like fast. That's how people look to him. Okay, it kind of took me out of the movie. Don't get me wrong, and I was kind of pissed because we're in 2023, and we've had Quicksilver from the Fox universe, and we had Quicksilver from the Marvel universe, and who else did a fast? I want to say did Quicksilver from the Marvel universe do a fast montage? I think he did. Yep, he did a fast montage. Quicksilver from the Fox did a fast. Both of those montages look way better than this baby scene. And the sad part is I don't want to say the baby scene sucked because of the CG because it wasn't just the CG. The baby scene sucked because the simple fact that it just didn't make sense. The only thing that made sense is why he was moving the babies a little bit because he didn't want to move them at super speed because you know the things they said about when you move a human super speed that you could rearrange their insides and all that good stuff like that. So like other than that, that that scene sucked. Even how he did it, like it sucked. It sucked. So I was like already like, oh Lord. But whoever said this was the best superhero movies, because a lot of people said it before this movie came out, they lied. They must be was paid. They had to been paid. I don't want to jinx nobody and just call somebody out, call people out or anything like that. But that's what it feels like to me. We get past all that, the whole Batman scene, and they have the good dialogue between Ben Affleck and Ezra. Good dialogue. I like that whole scene. I wish there would have been more, but it's time to get Ben out of there. This is supposedly his last movie, so sayonara. And then him going back in time against Bruce's wishes. Bruce telling him, warning him not to do that, but he want to be that person, so he does it. And he goes back and he changes one thing, and that was the thing of making sure his mom has the tomatoes the day before or earlier that day, so that way his dad didn't have to go. His dad would be there to save his mom if somebody decided to break in, whatever. One thing I hated about this movie is they ignored this one fact, and it's a big fact in the whole story point of why Flash is in general. Why did he not care who killed his mom? Why was that not a question in this whole movie? Why didn't, when he went back in time, go see who killed his mom? They never questioned it. They never said anything about it. And being that the person who kills his mom is his biggest villain, and we're probably not going to see Ezra Miller in his costume anymore as the Flash at all because of all his antics. That's a crazy way to just leave out that whole aspect of, Reverse Flash took care of your mom. Like, whatever. Because see, now the whole point of Flashpoint was to stop his mom from dying. That was the whole point of that. So the Reverse Flash decided to still not kill his mom in this timeline. Okay, we're gonna leave that alone. Because remember, you gotta understand the whole concept of what Reverse Flash is. He's a man. He's mad at the dude who's the Flash. He came back. I guess because if you look at how the movie plays out in that timeline, the timeline was about to end. So I guess you're right. Yeah, why would Reverse Flash come back from that timeline? Because he was never born, because that planet and that timeline got messed up. So I can give it that. It's just a lot of stuff. That it kind of rubbed me a little wrong, but as a person who liked the action and just that, I kind of love that universe a little bit. It wasn't the best universe, but I liked it, and so I want to see what was next. And so like him going back in time, doing that, acting against himself was cool, and you could clearly tell the crappy CG that even though there were two of him, that was a stand-in on one side, and they just digitally placed his face on him. You can clearly see that. The CG on old girl as Supergirl, that whole fight scene between her and Zod, that was good too. That whole fight scene in general with all of them was good. It was cool. It was what I expected because I kind of expected that one of them was the fight. I just didn't know how they were going to turn the Barry that we've been seeing, the younger Barry, into the evil Dark Flash. I just was trying to find out how they was going to do that, and they could have did better. But at this point, like I said, it's the end. Take it for what it is. So I'm down with it. That made sense. They killed him. He killed himself. Makes sense. That way, Flash doesn't have to be morally wrong in any way, or like he wasn't the one who did it. You know what I'm saying? I get that. The concept of the fact that he couldn't save Batman, Michael Keaton, or Sasha Calle, Supergirl. I think that's how you say her name. That he couldn't save them, and he just kept going over and over. That was cool. That was so. I like the fact that they was doing that because you could see different aspects of how they went with trying to change the fight and how the fight went. So I like the different playouts of that. Before that, let's go back a little bit to meeting Michael Keaton in this universe. I did not expect the old man want to kick butt while he was cooking food aspect of it. That was pretty cool, and it was good that as an old man he still had it. So that made a little bit more sense when you see him back in the suit and he's doing some of the stuff. Because I'm sorry, he was 80 years. He's supposed to be like 60. I think he's supposed to be 80 years old, but I'm pretty sure he probably was younger than that. But for an 80-year-old man to be jumping around and doing the stuff he was doing, like when he got on that that Krypton warrior, and he was swinging around him, throwing those bombs on him, I was like, that's Batman. That is some Batman for you. But I don't know if that's some 80-year-old Batman for you. But it's pretty cool. I like how he did the fight. I like how they kind of brought back the first time that Ezra Miller met Ben Affleck's Batman in was it Justice League. I like how they kind of did the same thing with the younger Barry meeting the Michael Keaton Batman, because that it wasn't the original Ezra, it was the younger Ezra, or the younger Barry. He was the one who did the whole thing with how they did the batarang, and then Ezra catches it. So Batman throws a frying pan. Michael Keaton Batman throws a frying pan, and young Barry goes back and grabs the frying pan. So that was cool too. Like I said, as far as this movie in general, it's a fun popcorn flick. But as people who are I know people who are the Snyderverse fans, they feel some type of way. They may think that it's still in canon to what's coming up, and I'm like, I don't see how it is, but whatever. So like I said, meeting he meet Michael Keaton's Batman. That was dope. Yeah, they freed that whole scene where they freed Sasha Calle's Supergirl. That was dope, and it was cool how the CG, like I said, that's what throws me off, because that's what made me think that maybe what he says is true about it being a choice. Only because of this scene where when she first gets into the sun, her face changes. So you can see that when she was malnourished and she was really weak, once she got into that sun, it started, she got pink in her skin. Her skin, it was filling out. And all that good stuff. So, and that was good CG. It looked pretty good. The bubble. I like the bubble because just the concept of, the Speed Force and him going through time. I'm cool with that. Did not like the fact that he was running backwards. That didn't make sense, but whatever. The fact that he was running in one spot, that is a good callback to the speed treadmill, the cosmic treadmill. That's a good callback to that. So I kind of like that aspect of it. I like I told you, the CG was kind of wonky, but that, like he said, that was a choice. I didn't appreciate that so much. The bubble, the concept of the bubble was dope though. I will say that it was dope. Um, the cameos. I love how we got the original Superman. I love how we got Christopher Reeve's Superman and Supergirl. I like how we got the original Batman. Well, not the original Batman, but we got the Batman from the TV show, which is dope. Uh, this is one I kind of hated and was kind of pissed because I'm a fan of the Flash TV show, and I've everything they could pull from that TV show to have it represented in this movie was the Jay Garrett who was not Jay Garrett. That's the part that pisses me off. They used Teddy, I forget what his name, Teddy something, who plays Zoom from the Flash TV show, but he was acting. He was playing like he was Jay Garrett in that show, but he technically wasn't. And you put him in this movie as if he's the original Jay Garrett, when in that show from that universe we do have an original Jay Garrett, which was played by the guy who was the original TV Flash. And let's say they didn't want to go that route at all. Why not put Gustin in it? Ezra was in Gustin's show. Why couldn't they put him in there? That whole thing pissed me off. But yeah, you know what everybody was screaming at in the movie theater, the best cameo of the whole night was your boy as that Superman. Well, I can't think of his name now. I'm mad that I forgot his name just that fast. Hold on, let me. I know y'all gonna be like, what? Why you don't know this already? And I do know this, and I'm just so mad that I can't remember his name off the top, and I should. Give me a minute. What the? Nicolas Cage. Sorry. Excuse me. Skip my mind just that fast. Nicolas Cage's Superman that was supposed to be after the original Batman movies made by the same guy. He was coming out with his own Superman, and Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Superman. I think Kevin Smith was supposed to direct it at one point, or he wrote parts of it, and he wanted him to fight a giant spider. So that's why in the cameo you see that Superman fighting a giant spider. Best cameo ever. If you want to know more about it, it's a documentary out there called I think it's the Superman Lives, whatever happened to it, or something like that. But look it up. It's a documentary that one of the guys from AMC Movie Talk did a long time ago. He passed a couple years ago, but he did finish the documentary. It was his life's work in a sense. Check it out. I'll probably leave some links or something in the bottom to just get you to know and some more information on it. Great cameo. Who else had a cameo in there? Was that it? I think that was it. I may be missing somebody, but I mean, other than the Wonder Woman, which was I like the fact that she did something more than she did in Shazam 2, but it still was a short cameo. And Aquaman at the freaking end. Now I'll talk about it yet. But yeah, the other cameos are pretty great. The ending of the movie where he ended up trying to convince the young Barry not to continue to try to save them, and he becomes evil, and the evil one kills the young Barry. That way he erases himself from history. Barry goes back to change, take the tomato can of tomatoes out of his mom's basket, say goodbye to her one good time, and then go on about his business, just to find out later on that he changed something again. So You change something, freeze your dad. Why go through the whole movie where you realizing that you should not change nothing in the first place, just to change something anyway? Dumbest plot in a movie ever. It was already going bad, and I was kind of giving it a little light because of certain scenes. But when that happened, I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I was like, well, he's still here, and everything is still here, so I don't see how they wipe this away. And then, so when you hear the Batman voice in the background, well, I'm sorry, the Bruce Wayne voice, and he comes out to tell him that he said, congratulations for your dad, or whatever. And he gets out the car, and it's freaking, I'm so bad. I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad right now. Somebody's gonna kick my ass for talking like forgetting everybody's name and all this. George Clooney. God bless America. I'm so mad that it took me that long to remember this man's name. George Clooney. Okay. I appreciate that they did that cameo. That was funny, and it was a what? And Ezra Barry's reaction to it was just same as ours. Like we knew who he was because we knew he was in the original Batman. Well, one of the original Batman movies. Some will say the worst Batman movie, but I liked him in that movie. So don't hurt me. Don't kill me. But whatever. But yeah, I get that. But a couple weeks before the movie came out, people asked James Gunn was George Clooney gonna be his Batman in his new Batman movie, and he said no. So again, like I was trying to say earlier about the concept of this movie supposedly rebooting and restarting the universe was pointless because it doesn't at all. And I was already like, okay, I don't see how this is going to work because they've already killed off any aspect of this connecting to anything that's coming from the future other than that Aquaman movie, which I'm hearing is bad. So hopefully I'm wrong on that. But yeah, and then they end the movie with the end credit scene with Barry and Aquaman Arthur coming out of the bar, coming out of the bar, and he's drunk and he falls in a puddle of water. As we supposed to assume they're coming back, like they're not coming back. I'm sorry, Aquaman's coming back, but that's it. Nobody else is coming back. I was kind of just like, this is just where they're gonna end it. I'd rather them honestly just really either just wipe the slate clean in general and not even had that movie be what they want to try to have it connected, because it's still up in the air if it's even connected at all. Because James Gunn is saying his first movie in the new DC is Blue Beetle, but they still haven't said anything about this Aquaman movie. He came out saying that the Flash was supposed to be a reboot for the universe. That's another thing. And so like we don't know what's what. So we're just gonna wait and see when the Superman movie comes out. Because if anything we know for a fact, we get a new Superman. That's done. We get a new Superman. That should be out in a couple years. Well, if this writer's strike don't last too long. But okay, if I was to give it a score out of 10, I would give the Flash a 6. I'll give it a 6. It's okay. I like some of the action scenes. CG was whack. Concept in general was whack. I can't believe most of us waited 10 years for this to come out and it to be what it was. But I also am a person who's been around and seen all the drama behind everything, so I kind of get it. This movie was supposed to come out 4 years ago. It's a 4-year old concept. I understand it. Okay, so yeah, Flash. The next one, The Blackening. I'm gonna tell you like this: if you're white and you don't have any black friends, you won't get a thing in this movie. I'm just tell you like that. This movie is a silly, fake horror movie. I would like to call it a parody, but I don't. I mean, it's really not a parody, but it plays like a parody. So it's like it is like a scary movie, but without it being a scary movie. Like they doing on tropes, different tropes and stuff. It's more the tropes they're playing is more black people tropes. So if you want to give it a horror movie trope, it would be the thing about black people dying first in certain horror movies. That'll probably be the only horror movie trope they play in there. Other than that, it's just tropes about black people in general. The whole point of the game is basically is based off of that game called Your Black. It's a game that's out there called Your Black Card, where if you don't know certain things, your black card can get revoked or whatever. And yeah, and so yeah, your black card get revoked. It's kind of that's kind of what the game is, but it's somebody killing people. I don't want to spoil. Like, I'm not going to spoil too much of this movie because it's really kind of straight to the point and kind of straightforward once you get into it. But I'll tell you, it did play good. It did have good laughs. I wouldn't mind seeing it one more time, maybe in theaters or even digital. If I had to give it a score, it would probably be. I give that a 7. It's a pretty good movie, pretty solid watch. If for for people of color, let's say it like that, because you would get the jokes. There's certain jokes in there, like they do an NCAA double A. They do different type of jokes that once you hear it, you'd be like, oh no, and even you'll be thinking to yourself like, hold on, do you know this? Do you know that? It's a good movie for what it is. Fake horror movie. If I'm not mistaken, it was made from a sketch, so that's cool that it actually went from a sketch to an actual full blown movie. Um, I would not mind seeing a sequel only because the people were kind of goofy, and I would kind of want to see what else they would do in certain situations. So if they decide to make a sequel, that'll be dope. So yeah, like I said, I give that a 7. Pretty dope, pretty cool movie. The last movie, I think that was the last movie. Yo, what's going on? What's going on? It's going. Talking about all the movies that came out in the last couple of weeks. I'm on the last one. Just watched it last night. So the last movie is Elemental. Elemental, Pixar movie, and at this, in this juncture, this time in history where Pixar is just not being Pixar, I can say that this is a return to the original Pixar form, how they are. To me, it's still not the best Pixar movie. I'm in between of it. Still should have been a streaming movie versus a move to a straight into the theater movie. I could teeter either way depending on what I'm thinking about as far as what happened in the movie. Pretty dope concept of, if you look at the movie, you think it's kind of the two opposites meet and they're attracted to each other. Looking at the trailer, that's what you kind of see. But when you look at the movie, the concept is a immigration story. Like the fire people are immigrants from their own land, and they came to this big land where everywhere all the other elements are, and they have to carve out a section of this world, of this city, for themselves because they technically not don't belong. It's just more of they don't fit in, and the world that they're stepping into is not quote unquote fireproof. So they kind of they have to be real careful with what they do. So that was cool. That was an immigration story and the connection with the daughter and her father. Great Father's Day movie. I did not expect that either. Great Father's Day movie. I'm going to also keep this one. It is a little spoilery, but not really. I'm going to try to keep most of the spoilers away off of this one too, because I think going into this movie blind, if you hadn't seen it already, is a dope concept. And just looking at it and seeing where they come from, it is a love story at certain points, and just different things happen. I love how it played out. I love the characteristics of the different elements. Dope movie. I would have to give that one. I'll give that one a 7 as well. It could have been higher if it was more Pixar-y. I'm pissed because I got to the movie late, so I didn't get a chance to see the short. If you don't know, if you don't watch Pixar movies at all, when you usually go to the movie theaters, they usually have a short in front of them. And the reason why I was so pissed about missing this short is because one of my favorite movies is Pixar's Up, and they had a short with old boy and a dog from Up, and it was his first. It was a date. He was going on his first date since all the situation from the first movie. I'm mad that I came right at the end of it, and it looked like it was just so perfect. I need to find a way to go watch it. I may go to the movie theaters just to watch it again. You know, just to do some, just to get that feeling in. But the movie itself, the movie overall was pretty good. I loved it. I still don't think it was like Pixar coming back fully, but it is a great start to getting them back to where they were, where we have to watch a Pixar movie in theaters, especially one a year or one every other year. With them last couple ones, they've been kind of floppy. So let's see what this one does, and we gotta go from there. Yeah, I know, Scar. What's going on, bro? I know where you are. Yeah. So yeah, guys. That was my review of all those movies. I know that's a lot. I am mad that I kind of missed some of the names of certain people that I definitely should have known. Like, no problem. I should have definitely known that. But yeah. I'm trying to make sure I get individual reviews for these movies. It's just I had so much going on in these last couple weeks, and I did want to do a review for each one, but I couldn't really get to it like I wanted to. So I decided tonight to just go ahead and review all these movies. So, and kind of do it live with my boy Scar on here and a couple of folks that popped in. But with all that being said, I am done for the night as far as this review. It'll be up on my YouTube page later on tonight or either tomorrow. And you can check that out on Snack Bites and Reviews, DJ Fat Snack Bites and Reviews on YouTube, as well as make sure you subscribe to my other YouTube page, DJ Fat Snacks Gaming. And if you want to get any more information from me, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and clearly right now we're on Twitch. Just look up DJ Fat Snacks and you'll find all my information. Until next time, guys, we out.